The next project is going to be Robo Code. This is a freely downloadable program. Usually it installs it on the C drive in the Robocode directory. When you first launch it, sometimes it shows a battle, sometimes it just shows what you see here. The idea with this is that you're going to create a little robot and program its innards to actually do what you want it to do. So for example, I'll take some of these sample robots just to show you what a battle might look like. All right, so these guys are behaving in different ways. We have walls, corners, crazy, and fire. Fire just shoots, corners goes to a corner, walls follows the wall, crazy just goes kind of randomly. The idea is that each of these things is firing bullets at the various other robots. It's got movement, the body itself can move, and also there is a scanner that actually the robots use to be able to see each other. So if I make my scan arcs visible and continue, you can see the scanners. The radar scanner thing and the turret and the body can all move independently. And there are rules for the physics of everything. So what robot acceleration is, how much they can fire, that sort of thing. Also, if you shoot another robot, you actually get some health back. Every time you fire a bullet, it takes away from your health. And the goal is to be the last one standing. And also you get points for shooting other robots, so it kind of breaks ties that way. It's possible that you also get damage for ramming other robots. All right, so how do you make one of these robots? I'm going to close this battle down. We're going to be using the editor in Robocode. So I'm going to create a new robot. My robot will be named Test Robot. It wants something called a package. I haven't really talked about this before, but this is basically a folder that the robot goes in. Robocode's a little bit finicky about this. We basically want to use something that's all in lowercase and fairly short. So ideally, it would be something like your initials. So I'm going to use mine for that. And what it does is it gives you this whole bunch of code that is pre-done for you. It's pretty well commented. It shows you the various pieces of the robot. So you do have to import Robocode itself. And before that goes this thing, package, which is the name of the folder it's in. Here's the name of the robot. It extends basic robot. You can also extend advanced robot. If you take a look at the sample code for Spinbot and Crazy, they extend advanced robot. You're allowed to do that for our purposes. It's got a run method. This is the thing that's constantly running. So they're saying while true, go ahead, turn right, the gun right, go back, turn the gun right again. And then, much like the mouse release or action performed, robots have events that happen as well. So if you scan a robot, do something here. If you're hit by a bullet, do this. If you're hit by a wall, do this. Watch out, because sometimes the events will conflict with what's going on in your main loop. And you'll have to experiment with that to see how that works out. So let's say I want to find out more of what I can do. How do I do that? So the Robocode API is basically a special API where all of the various events and things you're allowed to do happen. So for example, if I want to see what a robot can do, I actually want to go to robot. So robot, I'm able to go ahead, which we just saw, go back, do nothing. You are allowed to do nothing. However, if you have an infinite loop, eventually Robocode will just kill your robot and game over for you. So infinite loops are bad. Fire bullet with a particular power. You can get your own name. So there's a variety of different things you can do. And there's a bunch of events as well. All of these on things, so on death, on bullet missed, on hit wall. You can put all of those events into your robot. You can also change the colors, and in fact, you're required to change your colors from the basic default ones. So that's how you figure out what code goes in there. And by the way, advanced robots, the big thing about them is you actually have a queue of different things that you can set it to do, and it executes them in order. So you basically set up a series of things you want your robot to do, and it'll execute them. It allows you to do more than one thing at once, is the big thing about advanced robots. Advanced robots are children of robot, so anything you can do in a basic robot, you can do in an advanced robot as well. So let's say that I want to see how this works. What I have to do is, Eclipse automatically compiles your code. It automatically turns your Java files into class files. We actually have to manually do that here, so we have to actually compile it. Oh, got to save it first. So let me change this slightly. Save. It says, hey, that doesn't exist. Would you like to create it? Yes. So I'm going to save it there, and then I'll compile it. All right, so I've compiled it. And by the way, where it's located, it's in the C drive, in Robocode, in robots. So here's mine. So there's my Java file, which I was just typing in, and the class file, which is the compiled one. And that's the thing that has to run to make your robot work. Also, by the way, all of the samples are in here. So if you actually want to go look at any of the sample code and figure out how they're doing what they're doing, you should do that. All right, so once I have this, and I've compiled it, let's go back to the main Robocode and create a new battle. Once it's compiled, it should show up here. Sometimes you have to do this Control-R to refresh it. So let me go ahead and add test robot in there, and I'll just put in maybe fire. Give that a try. All right, so here's my robot running around doing all sorts of things. By the way, if you're looking for system.out, if you need that for debugging, if you click on the robot itself, it pops that up and shows you your window. So you can kind of pause and debug things. This is not very exciting. I'm going to speed this up. How am I doing? I seem to be defeating fire. All right, good. So by the way, here's the overall total. So I got bonus points for survival, I got points for damage, bonus points for bullets, 7 first places and 3 second places. So this is the overall scoring. And this is the way that our tournament is going to be. It's going to be 10 rounds for 4 robots. And then whoever gets the first, second, go on. Third and fourth, go down to the loser's bracket. Or in the loser's bracket, they stop going anywhere. So let's see. Let me do just a quick change to make sure this works. So I'm going to change I have to import color if I'm going to change his color. So let me go and set his color to something else. So here's an example one. So I got to save this, got to compile it. Let's go do it again. There we go. Now I have a different color. Anyway, if you're wondering how to figure out more information about robots, like how does it work, what are the physics of it, the Robo Wiki site is very good. That was under the help menu, Robo Wiki. And there's some other places as well that you can go look. So if I go look at the Robo Wiki, it says, hey, here's some ways that you can learn all about it. What I would recommend is take a look at the My First Robot tutorial. It goes through and explains things pretty well. It talks about radar, movement, targeting. There's various pieces to that. Let's see. If you want the robot physics, that's in here as well. So let's see. Robocode, does it say the robot physics? Let's look here. Physics. Robocode, game physics. So if you're wondering about like where the various parts of the robot are, so here's the degrees. 0 is up, 90, 180, 270 go around clockwise. So those of you used to GameMaker, you'll have to learn this new one. 0, 0 is the bottom left, so it's the opposite of the actual screen. It's more like the actual mathematical way it should be. Here's the width, height, so on. Here's how time is measured, acceleration, velocity, all of that stuff, how bullets work, collisions. Here's the loop of how it processes, lots of stuff like that. All useful information. So of course, your goal, create a robot, make sure it destroys everybody else, and try and be in the top 4 at least for extra credit.